Wood River House is my home for house.
Wood River Health is a one-stop shop for primary medical care, dental care, behavioral health, and social services. We care for the members of our community because they are our community. I'm Allison Croak, President and CEO of Wood River Health. Since 1976, our health center has provided high-quality, affordable health care to residents of Rhode Island and southeastern Connecticut. We are your neighborhood health center. Let us be your home for health.
Hello, everybody. I'm Rona Mann, and you are on the aisle with me. And today we are on the aisle at the wonderful, beautiful treasure that we have in Westerly, the Granite Theater, currently doing the Laramie project. Not something theater groups tend to do very often. It's a 25-year-old show, and this is part of what they've been doing all year long, which is all plays that were written or produced in the year 2000, 25 years ago. Okay, I'm going to begin by telling you what a friend of mine said to me yesterday morning when she heard I was going to the show. She said, I only want to be entertained when I go to the theater. There's too much bad news out there. I don't even watch the news anymore on TV. Well, she's a friend and I want to keep her as a friend, so I didn't give her my opinion. I've heard a lot of people say that lately. They don't watch the news anymore. How can you not be informed? How can you not know what's going on in your community? But I don't want to argue with people's feelings. But I'm here to tell you, I want you to remember 3 dates, and I'm going to say them several times during this review. May 9th, May 10th, May 11th. More about those dates later. If you love theater, whether it's the Granite that you're going to, Broadway, Trinity Rep, the GAM, Theater by the Sea, you have to love the diversity of theater. The fact that in most cases, they pick a wide swath of different kinds of shows. There are dramas and farces and comedies and musicals, one-act plays, impromptus, audience involved. And that's what makes it good. You may not love everything, but there's something there for everyone. Isn't it nice that the Granite embraces that and that they've done that this year? I mean, when you begin with the full Monty, and now we're at the Laramie project, you can't ask for 2 more different kinds of productions. Both of them excellent. Until Nicole DeMatte, the artistic director, came to town, the Granite was safe. They did a lot of safe shows. They did all those nice, fun family comedies. And then Nicole came to town 2 years ago, straight out of Broadway, straight out of New York. She did not raise the bar. She got rid of the bar. She threw that bar clear out in the middle of the street. And she has carefully curated plays of every stripe since. May 9th, May 10th, May 11th. Real theater is not about safe. It is about entertaining. My friend is not wrong, but it's also about challenging you. It's about making the audience laugh sometimes, and other times you squirm because you're uncomfortable with what's up there. And other times you're challenged, or you question it, or you cry. Well, the Laramie project actually will make you do all of that. It's both a documentary and a play. You're not going to leave the theater humming a song because there's no music. Well, there is music. I take that back. There's beautiful background music that just elevates, but it doesn't get in the way of what's happening. You might leave crying, like the person I came with. She couldn't even leave. She was sitting there sobbing. Other people walked out with a smile and said, "Wasn't that great?" It doesn't matter. It is a reason to go. I promise you, you will not leave without thinking about this show for days to come. Because I woke up thinking about it this morning. I was thinking about it driving here. There's a lot to take in. There's a lot to pack and unpack. Okay, let's begin with what is the subject of the Laramie Project? Well, at its base, if you talk to people, they'd say, oh, it's about a hate crime. It's about guys who were anti-gay. It was about what they did to a gay guy. All right, that's not wrong. But I think this is a play about love. So it's hate and it's love. And that's what you get every day on the news that people don't want to watch out in the world. This happened in 1998. You may remember it if you were around then, when Matthew Shepard, who was a gay young man living in Wyoming, going to college, was tortured by two guys he met in a bar, beaten up, hung out to dry on a fence, and left there to die. He didn't die on that fence, though. This is an ensemble piece. There are 15 actors in this show, and they portray the Tectonic Theater Project, which is how this began in New York, of project people also portraying the people of Laramie. No, you won't get confused because very wisely it's done so that they announce the person who's about to talk to you in the audience. And it could be the person you just saw as another character. They do a lot with just a hat or with a jacket or with a scarf around the neck. And that's because they've got a phenomenal director. There is, to my way of thinking, only one star in this 15-person play. And that is the director, Brad Delzer. He is without a doubt the rock star of this thing because he also designed the lighting. And normally I'm not one who's going to come out and talk about lighting, but it is so intrinsic to this show and the way he has blocked it and directed it. It is a major part of the total success of the production. Brad Delzer does more with a simple row of chairs in 2 acts than big Broadway directors do with entire casts. The other thing he does that I think is just amazing, and the only other director choreographer I ever saw do this was a guy who was a pretty big choreographer on Broadway. He could do a lot by just having one of his dancers pull down the brim of a hat or a turn of the wrist. Well, Brad isn't choreographing a dance, but he's choreographing this documentary / play. And that's what he has his actors do. I was fascinated by this. I watched this ensemble so beautifully choreographed and directed, where they would just turn their heads, or 2 or 3 of them would perhaps turn their body as I'm doing right now in the chair that I'm sliding on, or their wrist, and it would speak volumes to you. He has assembled a first-rate cast. I don't know how long they were in rehearsal. I don't think it was that long. Boy, did they do a lot of work. And they tell you a lot about hate, but they tell you a lot about love. Now, if you're saying, yeah, but I don't want to go see anything that's going to be violent and horrible, no, it's not. Any violence you pick up may be from words or what you are seeing in your brain, in your mind's eye. We all see something different. There is no physical violence on that stage. There is no bloodshed. There is no harm portrayed. It's kind of a quiet, growing horror. But always there's love. Always there's that character who you don't expect and will begin singing Amazing Grace, or will be talking about God or religion when you least expect it. May 9th, 10th, and 11th. That's all you got left. There are 3 performances left. This coming Friday night, May 9th, Saturday, May 10th in the evening. These are both 7:30 performances. And then Sunday is a matinee at 2:00. You've got to get to one of these. And if you have a student in your family or next door, bring that student, because the Eastern Connecticut Chamber Foundation is giving away free tickets to students, not elementary school. And I would say middle school only if they're extremely mature. We're talking about high school and even college. So if you're looking to get a free ticket, you want to do one of 2 things. Either send an email to contact@granitetheater.org, and theater is spelled R-E. Contact@granitetheater.org. You can call the box office at 596-2341. And if you get a recording, just leave your name and number and they'll get back to you. Don't miss this. This is something people are going to talk about for a long time. You know, in the play, one of the characters says, and my God, we've heard it so many times. Every time there's been a school shooting in America, every time something God awful happens, we hear a neighbor or a witness say, oh, this kind of thing just doesn't ever happen here. It doesn't happen in this neighborhood. Well, you'll hear one of the characters say it here. This kind of thing doesn't happen in Laramie. But it does. And it did. Just like it could happen in Westerly, like it could happen in Hope Valley or Stonington or some little town in Georgia, New Hampshire, Oregon. Yes, it can and does happen. And that's why May 9th, 10th, or 11th, you need to be in one of those chairs. I printed out Dennis Shepard's monologue, or a piece of it. Dennis Shepard was Matthew Shepard's father. He's not in Act 1 at all. The father and mother are not in Act 1. In Act 2, the mother has a few lines. The father doesn't speak until he's in court, and he's facing the 2 young men who caused the son's death. And he has a brilliant monologue that goes for about 4 or 5 minutes. I only am going to read a little bit of it to you so you get an idea that this is not horrible that you're going to be watching. My son Matthew did not look like a winner. He was rather uncoordinated and wore braces from the age of 13 until the day he died. However, in his all too brief life, he proved he was a winner. On October 6th, 1998, my son tried to show the world that he could win again. On October 12th, 1998, my son and my hero lost. My firstborn son and hero died. keep wondering, what would he have become? How could he have changed his piece of the world to make it better? Matt officially died in a hospital in Fort Collins, Colorado, but he actually died on the outskirts of Laramie, tied to a fence. You, Mr. McKinney, and your friend, Mr. Henderson, left him out there by himself, but he wasn't alone. There were his lifelong friends he had grown up with. You're probably wondering who those friends were. Well, first, he had the beautiful night sky and the same stars and moon we used to see through a telescope. Then he had the daylight and the sun to shine on him. And through it all, he was breathing in the scent of pine trees from the snowy range. He heard the ever-present Wyoming wind for the last time. He had one more friend with him. He had God. And I feel better knowing he wasn't alone. That's what the Laramie Project is about. It's not about hate. It is about love. This is what the Granite Theater has become. See what happens when you do more than just raise the bar? I'm Rona Mann. You're on the aisle with me, and we'll be back real soon with another show.